Imagine walking into a familiar store, expecting nothing special. Whether you are a customer or an employee, this place has always been like home to you, a cozy corner amidst the daily hustle and bustle. It's not just a store, but a point of attraction for locals, where people know each other, exchange smiles and feel the power of community. But today, the atmosphere has changed. As you walk past the rows of groceries, you hear loud voices near the cash register. Their tone is harsh, and tension builds. Curiosity takes over, and you glance toward the checkout counter, where you see one of the shoppers clearly annoyed, waving his hands at the cashier. It soon becomes clear, it's not just a disagreement over price or a minor annoyance. It's much more serious. The customer is demanding that the cashier, a black woman, be fired on the spot. The reason? Simple prejudice. Let me tell you a story of how racial discrimination led to an unexpected display of resilience and courage in response to injustice. This incident is no ordinary altercation. The mounting tension was felt by every customer in the store, and the atmosphere thickened with every passing second. But what happened next came as a surprise to everyone. It was not just a confrontation with a bully, but a moment of real courage that changed the whole situation, leaving an indelible mark in the hearts of those who witnessed the event. The store in question is not a huge supermarket where everyone is just a face in the crowd. It's a small, family-run grocery store where the cashier remembers you and may even know what you usually buy. Over the years, it has become an integral part of the neighborhood, a place where people come not only to shop but to chat with neighbors, exchange news, and feel part of the community. The cashier in this story was Maria, a woman in her early 30s, a single mother of two. She has been working at the store for several years and has become a familiar face to many regular customers. Maria is appreciated for her efficiency, politeness, and always a warm smile. For her, this job is not just a way to earn money, but also an opportunity to provide her children with a better future. Despite the challenges of single motherhood, she takes pride in her work and never shows fatigue. Today, however, her usual smile was put to a serious test. Maria had just served an elderly couple when a customer entered the store. It was Mr. Larsen, not the one who had come for groceries. It was already obvious from his gait that he had come here with the intention of causing trouble. Mr. Larsen, a man in his 50s, was dressed smartly in an expensive suit that clearly emphasized his status and wealth. He held himself confidently, like a man accustomed to getting everything he wanted. At first glance, it was clear that his intentions were far from friendly. Larsen didn't waste time on formalities. He went straight to the cash register, ignoring other customers and not paying attention to the display cases. It was obvious that his purpose was not to buy groceries. As he approached the register, Mr. Larsen placed his hands on the counter with a clatter that made Maria flinch. His sudden action caught the attention of everyone in the store, and curious eyes immediately turned to what was happening. The noise that had reigned in the store a few minutes earlier was replaced by an ominous silence. Some customers recognized Mr. Larsen. He was a regular customer, but not someone they loved. Everyone knew him as a difficult and demanding customer who was best not to be messed with. This time, however, he surpassed even his worst appearances. What was happening shocked everyone, even those who were used to his unpleasant behavior. Maria tried to remain calm and professional, but what happened next couldn't help but throw her off balance. Mr. Larsen frowned and rudely demanded, "Where's my order?" His voice was loud, shrill, and gave the impression of an impending storm. Maria tried to explain that she didn't know what order he was referring to, as there were no orders for him in the system. Larsen abruptly cut her off. "Are you kidding me? I paid for everything in advance. I don't intend to waste my time on such trivialities." Maria tried to offer him options to solve the problem, check receipts, look at recent orders, but her calmness only irritated Larsen even more. He threw her an accusatory look, as if she were deliberately stalling. Customers in the store began to fidget, sensing the tension building. One customer quietly suggested calling security. But Maria gestured for him to stop. She knew such a move would only anger Larsen even more. She hoped the situation would resolve itself if she was patient and kept her cool. But Larsen wasn't going to calm down. His voice was getting louder and louder, and now he was addressing her with obvious disdain. You're not even capable of your job. How did you even get hired here? Maria felt her patience begin to thin. Resentment boiled inside her, but she couldn't let herself lose her temper. All she could do at this point was continue to try to handle the situation with dignity and professionalism. Maria took a deep breath, trying to keep her composure. She realized that if she let her emotions get the best of her, the situation could quickly spiral out of control. Her job was to handle the conflict, despite all the humiliation and insults. She looked at Larsen and said quietly, "Let me check things out again. There may have been a mistake." But her words only seemed to anger him further. Larsen stepped closer and hissed angrily, "Do you think I'm a fool? There was no mistake, it was your fault." His aggression became more and more obvious, and other customers in the store began to step aside, not wanting to get involved. Maria felt cornered, but she had been trained to deal with difficult customers. She reminded herself that the most important thing was not to lose face and not to respond to provocation. With difficulty suppressing her inner irritation, she said, "I'm here to help you. Let's look at this calmly. We'll definitely find a solution." Larsen, however, seemed no longer willing to hear reasonable words. He looked at her with disdain and uttered, "Do you think I'm going to stand here and put up with this? I demand that you be fired immediately. I won't leave it like this." At that moment, the store manager, Mr. Harper, entered the hall. He quickly assessed the situation, seeing the tension between Maria and the angry customer. Maria knew that absolute restraint was now required of her. Harper approached Larsen with a firm and calm voice, ready to make sense of what was happening. Mr. Harper, a tall and confident middle-aged man, approached Larsen with visible determination. He nodded to Maria, signaling that he was taking control of the situation, and turned to Larsen, "Good afternoon, sir. My name is Mr. Harper, and I'm the store manager. Let me hear you out and get to the bottom of the situation." Larsen, despite Harper's attempt to smooth things over, remained tense. He pointed at Maria, still seething with anger, "That woman is incompetent. I'm not going to put up with that kind of service. You must fire her immediately." Harper glanced at Maria, who stood motionless, trying to hide her worries. She knew that everything depended on exactly how this conflict was resolved now. The manager listened carefully to Larsen, nodding his head to let her know he took his complaint seriously. "I understand your frustration, Mr. Larsen," Harper said, keeping his tone calm. "We will certainly look into what happened. However, firing an employee is a serious step, and I need to find out all the details before making any decisions. Let us review the information on your order together and find a suitable solution." But Larsen was unwilling to compromise. He crossed his arms over his chest and said defiantly, "I don't need your investigations. I need you to take action right now." Maria, feeling her patience running thin, looked at Harper with the hope that he might be able to resolve the situation. She realized that Larsen was just looking for an excuse for conflict, but she needed to remain professional to the end. Harper addressed Larsen again, gently but firmly, "I understand your point of view, and we will do everything we can to rectify the situation. Let's still try to solve the problem together." Larsen, despite his anger, felt Harper's words begin to work on him. The manager's gentle but assertive approach made him calm down a little. He was still looking for a reason to be displeased, but in the back of his mind he realized that it might be wise to try to discuss the situation rather than just yell. "All right," he uttered, still furrowing his brow. "I'm willing to listen to what you suggest. But only if it will actually help solve the problem with my order." Maria, watching this turn of events, felt slightly hopeful. She knew that with Harper they could find a way out of this difficult situation. "Thank you, Mr. Larsen," she said, trying to speak calmly and confidently. "I can explain to you what happened with your order." And we'll do our best to keep you satisfied. Harper nodded in agreement and added, let's gather all the necessary details and see how we can help. We value every customer, and your satisfaction is important to us. Gradually, Larsen's anger began to dissipate. He could see that the team really wanted to help. They went over his order information together, and Maria explained with detail what the problem was. As it turned out, it was a miscommunication in the system, and they could resolve the issue quickly. I appreciate your time, Larsen said when he was provided with a solution. I didn't mean to be rude. It was just frustrating. Harper and Maria exchanged glances, realizing that they had managed to turn a difficult situation into a constructive conversation. After the team successfully resolved the issue with Larsen's order, the atmosphere in the store improved significantly. Larsen felt that his opinions and feelings had been heard, and it helped him put things into perspective. Thank you very much for your help, he said, smiling weakly. You've really done a lot for me. I didn't even expect this level of service. Maria, pleased with this progress, replied, we are always ready to help. Your satisfaction is important to us, and we'll do everything we can to make you our customer again. Harper added, and if you have any questions or concerns in the future, don't hesitate to contact me. I'm here to help. Larsen nodded, already beginning to feel a sense of trust in them. Larsen suddenly realized that the incident had been an important lesson for both him and the store team. He now realized that everyone had the right to beat themselves up and needed to question their prejudices. As he left the store, Larsen noticed that something had changed with him. He felt lighter, and it wasn't just from solving the problem, but from being able to understand and forgive. With a new attitude, he headed to his car. The story of Larsen and Harper's team ended on a positive note, leaving behind a trail of important lessons about understanding, patience, and the power of dialogue.